An Animal Crossing cosplay for spring. Groundbreaking! Welcome back, fellow Animal Crossing aficionado, or fellow gay lizard aficionado, or both. Today's gonna be really meta as a gay person named Lizard who is making a cosplay of a gay lizard. It's gonna be fun. We're making Flick from Animal Crossing. And we're gonna try and do it in 1 week. There just isn't a heterosexual explanation for Flick being the way that he is. Nintendo needs to wake up and face the music. The music is KK Bubblegum. Honestly, I wanted to cosplay Flick since I first saw him in the first Nintendo Direct in 2020. I love this little weirdo, and I can't wait to take his in-game model and give it an alt-fashion kind of spin. Also, hi, I'm Lizard Leigh if we haven't met before, and taking character designs and giving it our own spin is what we do on this channel. And I promise this whole video isn't going to be me making lizard jokes. If I had to look into the future and guess what the pie chart of this video is going to look like, I think it's mostly going to be me crying about matching up patterns correctly. So let's go. I almost feel like I don't need to explain Animal Crossing at all because, as you may recall, Animal Crossing New Horizons came out on March 20th, 2020. A lot of other things were happening at that time. If your pandemic was anything like mine, you are probably very, very familiar with Animal Crossing. But just in case you didn't cope with the apocalypse by, planting fruit trees, Animal Crossing is a series of very calm, I guess village sim style games. My first Animal Crossing title was Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Nintendo 3DS. My save file on it is about 900 hours. It was like a running joke among my friends how excited I was for Animal Crossing New Horizons to come out. I bought a Switch so that I could play Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's kind of hard to explain what's so captivating about Animal Crossing. Functionally, you're in a town, there are also animals, you take care of the town, you have a house, you have clothing. It's a lot of things that other video games have also done, but something about Animal Crossing is really uniquely calming and also customizable. There's a lot of room for creativity and making original things in the game. So even outside of the very cosmic convergence of the global pandemic and this very fun, very calming game, I already knew it was a game that I was going to love big time. The character that we're cosplaying, Flick, is actually a new addition for New Horizons. Flick, as you can see, has a very fun, very cutesy punk aesthetic going on. In the game, you spend a lot of time catching fish and catching bugs. Honestly, you don't even want to know how many hours I've spent just trying to fill up my Critterpedia in-game. And a few Saturdays out of the year, there are fishing tourneys and bug ops, basically fun competition events where you can go and catch a lot of bugs or catch a lot of fish. Flick is the bug guy in this game. He runs the bug tourney and he also sometimes shows up on your island to purchase bugs from you for a great price, and he can also make little models of the bugs if you give him 3 of one kind. His whole kind of deal is that he's a sensitive, tortured artist. He just loves bugs. His dialogue in the game is very flowery. He's very about the beautiful spirituality of beetle wings or whatever he says. The really fun thing about Flick though is that his counterpart is CJ, a little beaver person who also loves fish and runs the fishing competition. CJ is a streamer persona, which is really fun. And in canon, in the game, Flick and CJ live together. They call each other partners. So the lore is that if you get a fish or bug model, Flick is the one who makes them and CJ is the influencer marketing brain. Of course, Nintendo are cowards and they're no, they're business partners and they're just roommates, but we know the truth.
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Flick and CJ are in love. They're in gay love. No one can tell me otherwise. So how are we gonna make this little gay lizard in real life? I know one of my goals with this build is going to be taking this very simple character model and adding some details to it. We're not gonna go too hard on the edgelord level because it's still Animal Crossing. I'm gonna figure out what all of those little details actually are by actually making it. So let's just get started doing that. It's actually so weird to have the camera facing this direction because I'm well, this is my desk, this is my private place, this is where I hunch over and shovel Trader Joe's ginger snaps into my mouth while I play D&D. But we are going behind this curtain a little bit because I wanted to back up because the first step of this process has actually already happened. I designed some fabric in Photoshop. Here it is. Plaids are unbelievably hard to source. If you've ever tried to find a perfect match for a character's plaid, you know you're better off honestly just making it yourself. And on top of that, Flick's pants are a diagonal plaid. Like, they just didn't want us to succeed. Luckily, because Animal Crossing is inherently simple, Flick's plaid isn't that complicated. I was able to make this out of basically some black rectangles repeating at precise increments with varying levels of opacity. And then I rotated it all 45 degrees and got it printed. So as far as getting it printed, this is not a sponsored video, but this build is actually a sponsored build by Spoonflower. Spoonflower, if you don't know, is basically a fabric printing marketplace. They offer a lot of different weights of fabrics, and honestly, their prints are really high quality. Basically, they reached out to me and a few other cosplayers to make a sponsored build using their fabric, showing what Spoonflower can do for the cosplay community, and we are giving them pictures and videos for an upcoming blog post. I hope that all makes sense. So this is an unsponsored video of a sponsored project. So I made this design, I uploaded it to their website, and I got it shipped to me, and we're gonna make some pants out of it. I should also say, while we are disclosing things, that this is why this project does have to happen in a week. I got the fabric last night and it looks beautiful. I'm seriously obsessed with it, and I need to get this cosplay done in time to send in my content along with all the other cosplayers. So the clock is ticking. It's like in Animal Crossing when they put that timer on and you have to catch as many bugs as you can in like 3 minutes or whatever. That's how I'm feeling. So let's get scrambling, my friends. Let's go. I love self-drafting patterns, but pants are one of the things that I refuse to do that for. So I picked up a pattern off of Etsy. These are for like men's cargo joggers. I'm not totally sure how that's going to work with the fact that I ordered the dogwood denim from Spoonflower, which is basically twill. It definitely doesn't have the same level of stretch that like joggers usually have, but we'll make it work. I'm not worried about us. I think because this pattern comes with 2 views, like you can either make a full-length jogger or you can make like a cargo short basically, which is my girlfriend's dream. She loves cargo shorts and I love her. But because of that, the fronts are in 2 pieces. There's a top and a bottom. So my first step before I do anything else is going to be sewing those 2 together. This means that it's our first chance to line up these plaids and make sure that it's a seamless little seam. And honestly, I'm very excited about that. So like, let's go. I thought it was gonna be so stressful matching all these patterns, and honestly, like, I'm just having a really good time. So the fronts are assembled, and next is going to be inserting the front pocket bit. There's a lot of pockets in these pants. I cut these out so that they should line up and be seamless when you're looking at them from the front. So let's see if it all works out. Let's see if we get the plaids to like line up in a way that makes our lizard brains happy. I promised you there wouldn't be lizard jokes, but I got it. I did it anyway. Remember a few hours ago when I was like, it's basically twill, like the fabric really doesn't have any stretch, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, it's gonna be fine. I'm feeling less fine. Translation, I am already a little worried these pants are not gonna fit. But at the same time, the only way out is forward, so I'm just gonna keep trucking on them and we're gonna have to deal with that tomorrow or the next day or whenever they actually come together. So we did get the pockets in. The pockets look great. They do make the lizard brain go brr. And I sewed together the side seam, which is when I started to feel the panic. These pants have 6 pockets. 2 of them we've already inserted. There's 2 back pockets and there's 2 side pockets. So I'm gonna take all of the little rectangles that we've cut and I'm going to do what the pattern says as far as like flipping them over and top stitching them to make little pockets. Men's pockets are so large. I feel like these rectangles are enormous. Like gender is fake, but the pocket binary is tangible and measurable. So that's our goal, making the pockets. I'm gonna put on a really long YouTube video of like Animal Crossing vibes ambiance and keep sewing. See you tomorrow. I just realized this is like such a missed opportunity for me to do like the Isabel broadcast thing and say what she says to you. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow if I have the brain cells for it. But hi, hello, good morning. I don't know what day it is, so we're already a few steps behind Isabel, but that's okay. We got our pockets pretty much sorted, pressed and top stitched last night. Also, I'm using like scraps of fabric as presser cloths, so I'm not putting the iron plate directly on this beautiful printed fabric. I will fly too close to the sun on a lot of things. I will not fly too close to the sun on accidentally burning any of this gorgeous fabric. So today we're gonna continue in pockets mode. I also want to first thing this morning make some little horns for Flick. The part of the pocket that we still have to do are the back and side pockets have these little like lids on them that I think are really cute. I think I forgot to say this yesterday, but any part of the pattern that calls for like a lining, I just grabbed some like black cotton from my stash. Self-facing is great in a lot of cases, but I want to conserve this fabric, and also it's fairly thick and heavy fabric. The thing that I'm really excited about is I am going to be embellishing these little like pocket lid flaps. So I bought some nylon webbing from Pacific Trimming, and I bought some D-rings, and I'm kind of just going to put a lot of D-rings on them. We'll see, we're gonna figure it out as we go. But first we're gonna be responsible and we're gonna make these little lizard horns because those are gonna take a very long time to dry. So I had just finished making the horns. I was really proud of how even they looked to each other, and I was looking around my workspace for a good drying spot where they could sit and I wouldn't accidentally bump into them, and I somehow dropped one. And in my immediate like moving around, I immediately stepped on it. It's fine, I'm just gonna remake it, but like slapstick over here. Slapstick, the level of errors that happen when I'm making cosplay. I hope you enjoy being along for the ride. I gotta say, I am very proud of us for not letting the great horn stomping incident of 2022, of earlier this morning, break our vibes, because we've actually done some really dope stuff. I used my soldering iron to finish the edges of the nylon webbing. This is like one of my favorite hacks. If you're using a synthetic material, that means there's plastic in it, that means it will melt. Obviously, you gotta be in a well-ventilated area and you want to be careful with the soldering iron. It made the army of small little loopies I had to sew like way more manageable. So now that everything's kind of together, I think my next step is putting it on the leggies. The side pockets, because they have that little pleat and because they're also on a side seam, I know that there's no way I'm gonna be able to make them pattern match, so I'm absolutely not wasting time on it. But the back pockets, those are the ones that I am really excited about, because they took forever to cut, so God, I really hope they go on and line up and look good. It's actually kind of wild because, like, I don't know about you, but me as a person, I have owned like a pair of red plaid pants throughout multiple different eras in my life. It feels really like I'm fulfilling some kind of like prophecy from my high school self that I'm like making red plaid pants now. Like the way that Flick feels about like the spirituality of bugs, that's how I feel about the spirituality of getting these plaids to line up. Like if I'm able to get these back pockets to look seamless on the leggy of the pant, I think I might pass into a higher plane of existence. So let's find out, let's see what happens. Before we get started today, I actually want to share something really special. I said before that I fell in love the moment I saw him in that Nintendo Direct, but I actually have photos and a screenshot of that exact moment. Like, I was at work, I took my lunch break during the direct so that I could watch it as it dropped. I have this like cursed blurry photo of my work laptop as I frantically try to take a picture of this beautiful little lizard, and then I also have this screenshot of me yelling at my girlfriend to be like, look at this, and she goes, is this about Animal Crossing? It's just a very fond memory, and I really wanted to share that like 2020 artifact to be like, no, I really did go this hard for this game and Flick, frankly, from the absolute get-go. It's also a very fun memory because she has now cosplayed CJ, the fishing enthusiast who is Flick's quote-unquote partner and quote-unquote roommate, and who he's very much in love with. So whenever people ask me like, oh, do you have a CJ? I'm like, yes, I already have one, and she and I are definitely gonna do like a shoot or something together at some point, but that is a plan for another day. A day when I am out of the red pants mania that I find myself in right now. Actually, this morning we are starting red pants tangential because we are gonna get started making Flick's t-shirt. So in the game, Flick has this really cute little like handmade ladybug shirt. It looks like it was hand painted. It's totally precious. But I know that I don't want to recreate that exactly because one of my goals with this is like scaling up the character model into a thing that a person would actually wear in real life. So last night I went online and I looked for like artsy bug images. I really want the shirt to feel almost like a band t-shirt or something. I ended up finding on VectEasy a really cool stag beetle vector that's free for use with credit. And since I have a Cricut and I bought white heat transfer vinyl for this, I'm just going to cut this out and make a shirt that way. The shirt that I am using for this is actually, it's not even thrifted. It's literally, I texted people that I know in the neighborhood and I was like, hey, do you have any t-shirts you're getting rid of? And luckily my sister had a Trader Joe's bag full of blank t-shirts. I salvaged this gray Gap shirt. It had a pocket that I removed. So let's make this really cool stag beetle shirt, and please continue to send prayers from the future that these pants actually fit. I'm really worried about them. Look at this beautiful little beetle. I think it turned out so cute. I wish I knew what kind of beetle this was specifically. Like, I made millions in New Leaf catching and selling golden stags, so in my mind it's a golden stag, but that might be wrong. It might be a, what were they, Cyclomatus stags? Saw stag?
Sea bass, wild Alaska.
We are just delighted to tick this off on our to-do list and say the shirt is done and it looks great. Before I go back to the pants mania, I'm gonna take a second and make a choker for Flick. Basically, Pacific Trimming just came in really clutch with a giant gold stud. So I'm just gonna pop that on some nylon and that is gonna be it. At this point in the process, a smart man would sew the legs together, make sure that everything fits before moving on to other stuff, but I am not a smart man, and I've never claimed to be. So instead, we're gonna do some embellishing. Every cosplayer knows this move when you're stressed about something over here, so instead you go, oh look, embellishments. That is what I'm doing today. I live in New York City. The garment district is the wind beneath my wings and the blood in my veins. And Pacific Trimming, once again, came in clutch with a teeny tiny little like red and black beetle patch. I think this applique is totally the right amount of like shiny chitinous bug vibes without going too far into figure skating territory, which is where I tend to end up. So that's one patch. The other patch I had kind of been like marinating on for some time because I would love to make a patch that feels like a direct reference to the game itself. In Animal Crossing, you're catching bugs, you're catching fish, there is something called the Critterpedia that makes a record of all of the different species that you have caught. As someone who doesn't time travel, it's like one of my favorite things to do in the game is to fill up my Critterpedia. If I miss a certain fish in the winter, I gotta wait until next winter to try and catch it again. It really makes the stakes like very real for me. And in the game, when you catch a new critter, a new bug, fish, or deep sea creature, your character goes, yes. I know because I have like a million screenshots of when I finally caught something that I had spent days trying to catch. So I thought that it'd be a really fun patch for Flick, who is the guy who wants you to catch new bugs. I found the Animal Crossing font online. I'm gonna make a quick patch out of that. It's really just like the best feeling in the world when you've been hunting for something for days and days and you finally get it and you get that little yes on screen. So that's what we're manifesting and that's what we're gonna try and make. Yeah, let's do the Isabelle impersonation real quick, where it's like the oh. Good morning. How do I watch these like every day. How do I suddenly not remember what she says? I've played 300 days on Animal Crossing. I know that because it told me. How do I not remember anything she says? Good morning, welcome to the island. It's the dawn of the final day. That's not what she says, that's what I'm saying to you right now. I drop dead have to shoot this cosplay in like a few hours. I really wish I'd had more time to add more details to this. Like I didn't really have time to play around with what Flick's vest could be, which is something really fun that I will do later. For now, there is a leather jacket that I got off the street in Park Slope that I will definitely be wearing for this version. So today we are just bringing together what we've got to bring together. I didn't do any like face filming yesterday, but I started to bring together the legs of the pants. I put in, the pattern had like a diamond crotch, which also contributed to me not being able to figure out how they were going to fit. I also spent a lot of time yesterday, per me not being a smart man, doing some hand sewing. To me, I think of patches that are hand sewn on with the little white stitches around the edge as being like the quintessential punk thing. Don't get me wrong, the patches looked fine based it on with my machine, but I really wanted that like fastidious punk energy, you know, the kind of like, this is a curated vibe sort of situation. It's not accidental, it's not actually messy, it's actually very carefully planned. That's the kind of person that I think Flick is. I am never gonna be strong enough to turn down like focusing on some tiny little detail when I have a massive deadline looming in front of me. I might not be as chatty today because in a little bit, my girlfriend is gonna be coming over to help me style the wig for Flick. It's actually a wig style that I have worn twice now, which is just taking a curly clip from Arda, taking that off of the clip and then just teasing the crap out of it and popping it on my head. You kind of just clip on the poof with like an unbelievable amount of bobby pins. That's really the secret. Before we cut it too close time-wise, I gotta make sure I get some quick acrylic coats on those little horns. I'm gonna chug this tea and I'm gonna get to it, and in just a few hours we'll have an actual little bug boy that we made. And that's about it. I'm gonna go zoom and get ready for that moment of truth. I really hope it's a good truth. But before I scoot, I just wanted to say, hey, thanks for watching all of this and hanging out and making something cool with me. It really means a lot that you're here, and I hope you're making something cool too. If you had fun watching this, or if you just have a lot of Animal Crossing feelings, let me know in the comments. It would really mean a lot and really help out this channel. I can't start talking about my Animal Crossing feelings though, or we will be here all day, and I have a lot of stuff to do, so see you soon.